Welcome to the Lucky Ones podcast. I'm your host, Lucky Wood, and tonight we are joined by a very special guest. He is one of America's top promoters, in my opinion, and my opinion is the only one that counts because it's my show. And it's a very, this is a very special episode because he wanted to come and talk about an event that I am very much looking forward to. We are counting down the days to, drumroll please, Michigan State. Welcome, Mr. Steve Pettis. Hello, sir.
Hello, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So, sir, to tell us about Michigan State.
So, Michigan State, I just kind of a little bit of history, right? The first year that I ran it was back in 2011. And previous to that, it was ran by George Dybel, and he started running it in like 1988. If you look at our website, there's actually results for Michigan State championships going all the way back into the 70s that we found on old newspaper clippings and things like that. And before George, there was a gentleman named Ron Gentry who was running the Michigan State championships, and he actually boxed Muhammad Ali. And there's video of that out there. So that's kind of pretty cool. We are one of the only states that has a good documented our history documented, right? So it's one thing that I think helps keep us going, is that we have all that history documented and stuff. And so we're really looking forward to this year, 2025, back at the Kellogg Arena, when we didn't think we were going to be able to make it work, but we got some more support from the Berrien County Visitors Bureau, and so able to pull it off for at least one more year to be at the Kellogg Arena, because it's such a large venue.
Right.
It's just really conducive to being able to have a tournament the size of Michigan State, right? So we were able to do that. Supposed to pick up Gorillas tomorrow, so they're supposed to be here. Have the plates and everything for that. All the plaques for the novice and amateurs are all on order. So we're
Is it Bob Sutton again this year?
Yeah, Bob's supporting with those plaques. So they're always really nice plaques to have. I'd like to start kind of thanking all the sponsors that we've been able to get. Obviously, Grip Arm Sport has contributed quite a bit, and we'll have their booth and tent set up at the tournament again this year, as they have the last couple of years. We also have what is it? Arbor Culture Tree and Lawn. I always have a problem with arbor culture. I don't know why. The Tree and Lawn, they've stepped up this year and sponsored. Pro Gear has joined the team. Matt Borden and Borden Constructions, they've jumped on board again this year, so that's great. We have Marketplace Pet Supply, Stigma Tattoos, American Arm Sport Association, obviously Kellogg Arena, no Rod Sellers with No Wimps Arm Wrestling will be there with his gear again this year. And then Chris Hazelton always helps out, and Manny always helps out with banners and things like that. So I want to thank all those guys for always stepping up and supporting Michigan State championships. It's hard to do it without help. And we have a couple other people that we're still in talks with as far as some sponsorship. So we look forward to being able to button those things up and looking for a great tournament.
Definitely. So will the tattoo people have tattoos available? Are they setting up a booth?
No, Stiggy, he's a competitor, so he doesn't tattoo at the event. But he always gives out a $500 gift card that we give away every year. I don't know if anybody that's won it has ever used it, but he's
Give it to
given
me.
for the
Right? Like, we might as well just hit them up.
yeah. So
I'd go ahead and get both sleeves.
That's way more than 500.
No, but I mean everybody who's
Okay.
gotten.
Yeah.
Throw all the money together.
Mm-mm.
so he's always supporting. It's really good to have him there as well. So,
It's probably good because you don't want somebody to like, I'm going to get a tattoo of a gorilla, and then they don't win, and then they have that
yeah,
tattoo remorse.
there's a couple out there that have the gorilla as a tattoo.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Okay.
That just shows how amazing and legendary your award is, or that in the gorilla is. Like when people are willing to tattoo it on themselves. That's impressive.
Yeah, it's really, and it all came about. It was probably back in like 2004. We were revamping our T-shirts and things for our team in Southwest Michigan, where I lived at the time, and we're training with Alan Brigette, Tom Wilson, and a whole bunch of guys in that area, and we're kind of getting ready to go to the 2004 Michigan State Championships, and was looking for something new, and we were at a t-shirt place back before like the internet had all that stuff, right? So we're thumbing through a book, and we hit that image, and it was, yep, that's what we got to have.
That's it. Just jumped out at you.
So then we added SHP, and for a long time, a lot of people thought SHP was like my initials, and he's like, "Why does everybody have your initials on their shirt?" But it actually stands for superior hand power. Right? So that was kind of our slogan in practice when we were dominating people, right? So it stuck and went on the shirts, but and then like 2012, the AAA Nationals were in Indianapolis, and we took enough people down there. We had two teams, so we won first place in teams and third place in the teams. So we at that point is when it was kind of made like for all of Michigan.
Gotcha.
Everybody kind of jumped on board and was, hey, we'd like to use the gorilla. I had a little bit of an issue at first. I didn't know if I wanted to do it, and then I went with it, and everybody loved it, right? And we had it up shirts and everything for the Nationals that year. And then in 2015 is when we come out with the sculpture. And George, you've seen the sculptured arms, obviously, that are out there. George knew the guys that had did that, and went to them and said, "Hey, can you make us one of these?" And they put it all together for us, and
So was 2015 the first year you gave them out, or 2016?
15 was the first year that we gave them out.
So it's the 10-year anniversary.
Nice.
Yep.
But they're going to be bigger.
They're
They're
plenty big.
about 12 inches tall and about 15 pounds.
Yeah. Oh, right.
Yeah. So they're pretty nice, right? Everybody,
Yeah, you don't want to stub your toe on one.
Yeah. There's a few guys that have collected a few of them, like Dan Blanchard. He's got like 15, 20 of them. Joel, he's got a whole bunch of them, right? So, yeah, they're pretty respectable. I've had people from over in Europe call me wanting to know how to get them. I've had people in Canada want to get them, and I feel greedy about it, but I've tried to keep those for Michigan State, right? And we give them out, for like Arm Wrestler of the Year. We've given some special awards out to people. We actually did a couple pink ones for the bracket ladies a few years ago. So the bracket ladies all got some pink ones. So that was pretty cool. And Yeah, that's a little bit of the history about the gorilla. Sorry to kind of off track.
Oh no, loving it.
Really cool. Like people wouldn't know that otherwise. That's
Yeah.
awesome. So, but it's not just the gorillas this year, which is something really fun that you are adding to the whole showdown up in Michigan. So tell us about what additional prizes we can win.
Yeah, so this would be the second year that we're giving a Harley Davidson away. It's a 2002 Deuce, so it's a not like the smallest bike that they make that Harley Davidson might makes, but it's a mid level where it's not too big. So if a lady wins it, she could still ride it, right? And not saying that a lady can't ride the bigger bikes because I know ladies that ride the bigger bikes, but it's for a beginner, it's a good size bike for a beginner if somebody happens to have never rode a bike before and they want to learn if they win it, right?
There you
So
go.
I actually bought one. The last one we gave away was a Street Bob. I bought that in 2019 and was planning on giving it away in 2020, and I couldn't give that away until 2021. And we all know what happened there.
Right.
But we were very successful in giving that away in 2021. And what Mike Bowling, right? I don't take credit for Harley pulls or anything like that at all. I just like giving away Harley Davidsons, right? So Mike Bowling was giving away Harley Davidsons back in the early 2000s at his tournament in northern Ohio. So just the excitement that it helps generate, right? And seeing the look on, like Brad Paddock was the one that won the one that I gave away a couple years ago. And we're a little bit unique from what other people do when they're giving them away, right? And that's one of the things that I wanted to touch base on. Um, Everyone that enters the Opens men's 143s, 54s, 76, 98s, 220s, 242s, and 242 plus. The men's masters and grandmasters 54, 76, 98, 220s, 220 plus. And then the women's 140, 160, 160 plus. Everybody that comes to the tournament and enters into one of those classes gets a raffle ticket
Nice.
for every class that you enter, right? Out of all those raffle tickets, and some people that did pre-registration, they'll get extra raffle tickets.
Right.
But everybody that enters those classes, there's one key. One key out of everybody that enters those classes. I give the opportunity for one person to get a key. So we raffle off that. And then if you win your weight class, you get a key. So then you could end up with 2, 3 keys possibly, right? Maybe
4 or 5.
so you can end up with multiple keys. And the way that process works is if you've come to my tournaments, right? Karen's always got that bowl of numbers, right? So it's all random, right? She's got that bowl of numbers. We'll call if you won your weight class, we'll call everybody up. They draw a number. They go on the sheet.
Sure.
And that's how you get in line to draw your key. So I'll have all the keys in envelopes in a box, and then you'll pull your envelope,
Cool.
whichever envelope that you pull out, we'll open that envelope and we'll check and see if your key unlocks that bike. And
I love that.
yeah.
It's super random but very organized, and I mean that's a really smart way to do that for sure.
Yeah, that way, right? It's all random, and you with drawing your envelope, you are the one. I'm not handing out envelopes. Right? You
Right.
draw your envelope, and that's on you. So
There you
it's really cool, you know, when like I can still see it when the lights hit when Brad started the one in 2021. So it's really cool. It's a lot of fun. Logistics afterwards of trying to get that home. We may have to people depending on who wins it, right? You know, because there's people that are coming from great distances away. I may have to throw the bike back in the trailer and bring it back here, and then figure something out. But Brad made a phone call and rode his home.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's really cool. So that's kind of how that works, right? So that's one of the main things I wanted to get out there. Everybody that enters one of those classes, not the novice or the amateurs or the kids, but everybody that enters, you know, a pro class will get a raffle ticket, and then if you win your class, you get a key as well.
Love it.
That's
Yeah,
pretty freaking awesome.
yeah,
For real.
yeah. So it's a lot of fun. It's a long day, but it's a lot of fun.
Definitely. Definitely. So, novice, amateur, masters, plaques for second and third. And then for the kids, are you doing medals this
Yep.
year? You'll
Yep.
do medals for kids. All right. And then you'll have an opportunity based on how many entries you do. You get a raffle ticket for a key. And so everybody will have like a little raffle ticket. You'll raffle it off. You
Yep.
know, Amanda wins the raffle. She has a key.
Yep.
She's putting it in the universe. I can
I'm
feel
putting
it.
it out there. Putting it out there. Everybody's getting a key.
Put it in there. Put it in there.
And then after all the classes are ran through, all first place people will grab a key and their gorilla. Second and third place will get their gorillas for their open pros. And then but also the people who get keys are the masters
Yeah.
and
Men's open, masters, and grandmasters. So we're doing 40
grandmasters.
plus
That's what I was forgetting.
and 50 plus, and then the women's classes as
And
well.
then the women's classes as well. Yep.
Yep.
Perfect. Awesome.
What's
So
the typical? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go for it.
What's the typical amount of people you get at your tournaments for your pullers registration? Like how many you getting?
We're pulling in consistently over 400.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
you typically have like more than 10 women too, right?
Yeah, the women's classes, and we added a women's class, and I was really scared about adding the women's 140 class because I was only doing 160 and under and 160 and over, but I had some people asking, so I added a smaller. It didn't pan out super great last year, but we went ahead and went with it again for this year because you got to give it time to grow. Right?
Yeah, I know a handful of some 140s, you know, Scarlet, Candy, there's plenty. There really is.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, I know just from the group that I've talked to, I think there's going to be a solid at least 5 of us that are shooting to pull 140 there this year. So you'll have at least a full class, and you'll send all of them home. You don't have to take any of us right back.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really awesome. Because when I started the sport, I was a 19-year-old kid, and I was a $130 soaking wet. Right, so there wasn't any weight classes back then, right? So like nationals left-handed, we didn't even bother training left-handed back then because the smallest weight class at nationals was 154s, and then local tournaments to get a left-handed class that was even 176. So I kind of understand some of the pain of women's arm wrestling because I was in that smaller class that didn't get the opportunities to pull like left-handed as much, but so I try, and I really try to. I'd love to have more classes for women, and how we came about with like the 160 and the 160 plus is when I developed those classes from just one open class is I took an average of what the weights were and kind of cut them in half. And
That's actually, I think that's a great idea because I mean, there's a couple of states that just do open classes for women and they have 10 plus women there, you
yeah,
know, and I'm just like, are you, come on, man, you know, it's a little crazy. Even like our, what is it? Is it our Southern East or Southeast rankings? The women's is open and you have people comparing themselves to Sarah Bachman in a certain weight class, like, or it's crazy, I'm like, you've got a 140 person and a 180 person in the top. Okay, I don't,
yeah,
well, it's a little odd to me,
I
so.
think that's where Actually, I think that's where I really appreciate, because I know last year after the fact, you reached out to a lot of us ladies and we were able to have a dialogue on what we thought the weight classes should be. So, it wasn't, we talked about it, I put in my 2 cents and, and I think it's smart to stick with what you initially had last year because it's what you're putting in, it's what you put out last year. And like you said, you needed time to grow. And I think, in 2 years, doing that top split, that, maybe a 180 class or a 190 class, once you've added more people, and you can get all four filled, then, then that's when you add one, But I think rather than swapping it out and then not have people come because they thought it was going to be a certain way or not have have it flop again because you're doing another trial run, if
right,
you will.
yeah,
So I think it was really smart of you to, keep it for another year, really grow those 3 classes, and then maybe down the road see where the weights were again and see if you can split it like even a fourth time.
yeah.
Yeah.
And that would ultimately be the goal, right? You see women's arm wrestling growing again. When I started back in, it was 1993 was when I started, so quite a while ago. But there were a lot of women arm wrestlers, like the Nationals. They had good classes, right? And that was back when there was basically one nationals, because it was before any of the WAF splits or anything like that, right? So there was basically one nationals to go to worlds, and the women's classes were quite full. And then women's arm wrestling kind of fell off, but you really see the resurgence now and the push, and like the women's round robin that's coming up, right? You guys have done that a few years now, and I think in Texas they've had a couple women only tournaments and stuff.
Yep. Miss Sarah Ray has had that going, she had to go for a few years, I believe.
She did, yeah, she did
So
3 years, and I would love to see her gear it back up again for
yeah.
sure.
So hopefully it continues to go, right? And we'll continue to see how it impacts Michigan State, right? I was pleasantly surprised with the overall numbers of women last year. So
I
yeah,
will say that number has what it's got me because I'm like, there's not a lot of women down here. I'm from South Carolina. I'm like, yeah, like 10 women. I got to put that on my to-do list, because that means you're getting a better challenge.
yeah,
You want to see and you want to meet the women,
right.
and see where you stand from everywhere. So
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm hoping to make it.
it was
Good.
my largest tournament that I was able to be a part of. Even that was the largest class that I got to be a part of. Even when I went to nationals, like it was bigger than national and any national class that I pulled in. So I was like, oh dang, okay, go ahead, Steve.
Yeah. Last year our number was 490. The highest we've had is 519.
Nice.
So I've always wanted to. I remember like the first time I walked into a nationals, and I was in awe, right? I was just like, holy cow, right? And my first nationals was 1995 in Pocatello, Idaho, and Elaine had put it on, And we drove all the way out there on a whim, 1,600 miles one way, and drove all the way through Nebraska in the middle of the night in the rain. It was crazy. But when I walked in there, I was just like, holy cow, this is, because I had only done, bar room arm wrestling and stuff. And that's one of the things that we've always tried to do with Michigan is come out of the bar sport, right? Put it into
The
more
Kellogg Arena.
the arenas and the convention centers and things like that, and hotels. And so we've always worked hard for that. Like my tournaments here in Kentucky, they're always at convention centers, part of the bodybuilding shows.
Okay.
So I'm not opposed to running tournaments and stuff in bars, but I've been fortunate that I don't have to anymore, right? So
Yeah.
it's nice, right? And they just with Michigan, right? When you walk in there and we have this giant 20-foot banner up with the sponsors and stuff on, with two side banners on the side, and the whole stage, 4 tables up on the stage, and I just, for me, that's just I hope people feel the same way like I did when I walked into my first nationals.
Yes. Hang on, I'll
So if AAA is one of the sponsors, or is that the rules that you use for your tournament?
Yes. Yep.
Oh, okay. Good. I don't think I'm familiar with those now. That's one thing I'm noticing when I've gone to a couple of tournaments that they don't tell you what rules they're doing ahead of the game. Uh, if they're doing it, I'm not hearing it. So you figure that would be something that's, kind of like a must to know.
Yeah. I've always been in 90, what was it, 96 or 90, 97. I think I become at that time AAA had state directors, and I had attached myself to the American Armed Sport Association, and Frank and Karen have become great friends of mine, and helped me, and are key to making Michigan State run as smoothly as it does. I mean, when you running 500 people through a tournament in 8 hours, I mean,
there's
it's
very few that can do it better than Miss Karen.
so. I mean, the support staff that I have is huge, right? So we have to, we're running 2 scales. Right? We do 2 scale system to get everybody through, because we were having people stand in line for an hour trying to get weighed in, trying to do it on 1 scale. So we've gone to a 2 scale. We have some people that have did pre-registration, have priority weigh-ins,
That's cool.
so they'll be able to jump the line. This year, last year we had a little bit of confusion where people were still standing in line when they could have jumped the line. So I'm trying to get my hands on some like red carpet and roll out the red carpet for them.
Love it.
Go to a fabric store and get a big long thing of like red felt, that people used to do with the like the
You
puppet
can
show.
just get
Yeah.
the red plastic that they use for like a wedding runner.
Watch
So
somebody slipped on
I
it.
some of that, and then so we can better define that. And I wanted to, you mentioned earlier talking about the novice guys. One thing that we did this year, we added extra classes. We made a men's novice. We kind of changed our rules on that, right? So that's novice that we're going to try to do this year is 2 years maximum in the sport for the novice class. You can't have been in the sport for more than 2 years. Trying to give some of the newer guys a little bit of opportunity to be able to pull. And we added a amateur class for anybody that doesn't feel that they're ready for the gorilla class. Right. So we added 10 more weight classes in the amateurs, as well as adding 10 more weight classes for the 50 plus grandmasters.
Nice. So you might have answered this. So for novice, sorry, I was dealing with the chat and their obnoxiousness. For the novice, is it if they win 2 years, or they just after they pull 2 years, you move on with your life?
Yeah, I'm trying to just make a hard line. If you've been training for 2 years in the sport, then
Yes.
you have to at least pull the amateur class, give the other new guys an opportunity to pull and win something in the novice. We'll see how it works, right? If it doesn't work, we scrap it and do something else.
Right.
Trial and error. I love it.
Exactly. Well, and I think that's what just makes you, I bragged about it a minute ago too. I think that's what makes you like a very top promoter is you are willing to not stick your heels in the ground and be like, this is the way it's always been done. Because that's so dangerous for any profession or any way of thinking. And so I think it's really, commendable for, anybody to be like, hey, we're going to try this. If it doesn't work, we'll try this.
Yeah.
So.
And that comes from like my background from work, right? And I'm in the automotive industry. We create parts for Ford, Chrysler, GM, right? All the OEM manufacturers and stuff. And there's a thing that's in the automotive industry that's got continuous improvement, right? And so with continuous improvement through work, right? I have that mindset for my tournaments, right? We could always continuously try to improve. I've even put surveys out there to that are like on Survey Monkey, so that I won't know who's saying what, and put that stuff out there for people to answer to answer the questions and stuff, and take back and try to make things better, right? I always try to listen to the pullers because they're the ones, they're sitting there all day, right? And we try to do everything that we can to make it entertaining, and because it's a very long day with that many people.
Oh yeah. But
What
I
are
mean,
the
I think that's what I like. Yeah, it was a long day, but I mean, it was such a fun day. Like it never slowed down. There wasn't a lull. Like there was always, matches happening or things to do, things to eat, people to meet. It's a great tournament to be a part of, even though it's so big.
Anything, even having Rod there with his equipment and stuff, that helps break that up, right? So that people are able to go over there and try their hand at the grip sports stuff, and the things that he's done a pull up challenge and stuff, or a hang challenge before as well, right? So he always brings in a few things that helps keep people entertained, and I'm very thankful for him for doing that.
Yes.
Cool. What are the entry fees again?
Entry fees are for the classes that you can win a Harley, right? We try them to reasonable, and I've gone back and I've looked at what everybody else is charging for entry fees for tournaments, and what they're giving away and things. So $50 a class.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yes.
No discount for additional classes for that, right? I got to pay.
Yeah. That makes perfect sense.
And I figured if you're taking a gorilla and a Harley home for
Shush.
$50,
You're good. Come on.
Easy peasy.
Yeah.
But honestly, that is so true. You could win a Harley and a gorilla for as little as $50. That's
Yeah.
crazy.
So, do you typically have any like food trucks, food services going out there?
it's a full blown arena. They have their own concession stand. They have their own bar set up. All that.
Yep.
Will there be like healthy options too? Yeah. I love that face. He's like, I don't know.
That is where we get a little sticky. They have water and Gatorade.
But I will say that they do allow people to bring coolers and things like that. So it's not something where it's just like you have to eat what we give you and suffer. Like you can have a cooler and you can have your own stuff. So it's not.
Yeah. I mean, something is better than nothing, but yeah, sure.
And not this year. I don't think this year, but the last 2 years, we've been the same day as they have like a food festival that's going on, and they have a whole bunch of food trucks and stuff outside. But I don't believe, because we changed weekends from last year, I don't believe that that's going on at the same time this year. Right. So,
Yeah, because last year it was the second weekend in July, or I mean in June,
yeah,
right?
yeah. So, this the 28th was the only, because they've gotten extremely busy after COVID, which is, you would think is a little weird, but they have gotten extremely busy. They have a ton of stuff that are on their schedule now for that venue. So it's good for the city of Battle Creek. The hotel, that's one thing that I wanted to talk about as well. The hotel is the DoubleTree. So lucky you remember, if you remember the arena, right? And then there's a big building right next door to the arena.
Yep.
That's the hotel. Right?
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
And it was been closed for the last couple of years in renovation, and they're finally back open.
Yes.
So for anybody out there, the link is out on the Michigan Arms page as well as the event page, and you can go book your rooms. We have until like June 14th to book for the discounted rate there. So brand new, completely renovated hotel. It's got like 14 stories to it. It's very nice. And it's literally, you can get there, put your car in the parking area, and you don't have to go back to your car until you leave. There's everything right there that you'll need. There's a Jimmy John's that's also across the street if you want something fast, right? There's restaurants that are right there. There's a bar that we go to after the tournament and after weigh-ins. So yeah, pretty nice.
Our tournament pregame after weigh-in meal has become Jimmy John's, so that's what I was very excited. Last year we hit up Culver's, and had some Culver's without the bun or whatnot. So I'm super excited for the Jimmy John's this year.
Yep. Yeah, and they're directly across the street, so that's awesome as well.
Jimmy John's is gonna be sick of me that weekend.
And I touched on weigh-ins and priority weigh-ins. No late entries, right? And I saw something out there on somebody else's event flyer that I thought was a good idea, and then I may use it at some point, sometime. Yeah, we'll take your late entry, but it's going to cost you $100.
There you go.
Yeah,
I don't even think that would be worth it to Miss Karen, though. To be honest, have you ever met Miss Karen?
I mean, to be honest with you, a lot of people do that. Day of event, price goes up, so pay ahead. You know.
Yep.
So that's the DoubleTree, everybody. Super nice. Those are the rates. Not bad at all.
No, not bad at all.
Yeah.
So make sure you grab one or two.
Yeah. So weigh-ins are Friday night from 7 to 9, and we have to be out of the venue at 9. So if you get caught up, right, let me know, because we've been pushed out of the venue at 9 o'clock in the past, right? So please make sure that you're there. Typically construction, it's Michigan roads, so there's typically construction going on at some point. But the best thing to do is make sure that you call me and communicate. And then Saturday morning weigh-ins are from 9 to 11. And at that point, really, I mean, when we're already drawing up bracket sheets, it's hard to
do not be trifling and show up at 11:05. Okay.
And in the past, right? In the past, and that's part of the reason why we went to 2 scales is because we would weigh-ins would cut off at 11 o'clock, but there's still 50 people standing in line trying to get weighed in. And
Yeah.
so uh, that would always put our bracket time in jeopardy, right? And so what we've done is we've added the 2, and then to get started, right, we get the kids started because it's easy to get the kids brackets done and get them rolling right away. And then
Right.
here, as soon as the kids brackets are done, we'll make the masters brackets, and we'll roll right into the masters and run them out. And then by time the brackets for the open and amateurs, because we run the 4 tables, we'll run the pros, the open classes on 2 tables, and the amateurs and novice on the other 2 tables. So that way nobody's sitting around and having to wait. The only ones that end up really having to wait are the ones that only pull like one arm, and they're waiting for their arm to come up.
So,
When do you typically throw the women in, or is it just wait and see?
No, we typically throw them in the middle of the pro classes. So
Yeah.
when we're running 2, and that helps just in case we have guys that are jumping weight classes and stuff to break that up so they don't end up on the same table, uh, waiting on one guy on the same table. So like we typically start with the light guys on one table, and then like the heavy guys on another table, and then throw the women in the middle of that.
That's pretty awesome. I like that. Mm-mm. Will you do women's right left back to back, or will you run it right, then wait, and then go left?
Yeah, we always run right and then go to the left.
Okay. So,
I
all right.
thought about running left first and then going to right this year, but I haven't really made that determination yet.
Mm, yeah. My last tournament I was at, they did right first. We were there for a while. By the time left-handed came, like a couple of people had dropped from the
Yeah,
classes. So
yeah,
and it was smaller. There was less left hand than right hand. So I mean, yeah, those are those where you just take a chance. Sometimes you never know until everybody shows up.
yeah. And that's the one thing about being. We've had a few times that people have left out, dropped out of the left-handed classes because it's been such a long day, right? And I mean, we're typically done around 6 o'clock. With starting the actual tournament at 1 o'clock or so. So
Really
it's
not bad.
bad.
Oh,
It's just when we get there at 8 o'clock in the morning, and then by the time we get everything tore down and out of there, it's 8 o'clock at night for us. So
yeah.
yeah.
Shauna Wagner said that she would love to see a women's master's class. And I think Jenny Radford, who was there last year, would agree with
yeah,
her as
I
that.
just hit that age bracket too, so
Right. So, and that could be another thing that you look at, maybe instead of adding an upper weight for the 4th class, the next thing you could add is, women's open masters.
yeah, that's a possibility, right? And women age just like men.
yeah.
Stick around in the sport as
Do you,
long.
Don't be telling our secrets.
so Steve, do you feel like opening up pre-registration actually helps solidify a little bit of what is coming? Like, does it really help you gauge the numbers better? Like people who pre-register typically show up more?
Arm
No.
wrestlers are notorious for not pre-registering. Right? So I've had quite a few this year, more than in the past. But like working with the bodybuilding shows, the MPC, working with them, right? So they're always asking me, well, what are your numbers? Because that's all they do is pre-registration. If you don't register at this date, then they'll have like an extra 5 days after that you could register and have to pay extra, but there's no walk in the day of the show and sign up. So
Yeah.
they're always asking me, well, how many are you expecting us? You don't know, right? What I've found is a decent gauge is on the Facebook event page. People that are interested and people that say they're coming, I normally cut that in half.
Okay.
Okay.
And that's been a pretty respectful gauge over how many people are going to show up. So
I've noticed the pre-registration typically works if you have a venue that you can only have so many people. So like if they're using a smaller venue, the backside of a restaurant, they might have a 250 capacity. So you need to pre-register so they can get a hands on it.
yeah,
Okay.
I wish we could get better at that, right? I don't want to cut off pre-registration, or I mean cut off day of registration, because there's times that I hadn't planned to go to a tournament and I decided to
Yeah.
go,
Yeah.
able to go and compete, right? So I wouldn't never want to completely close that out, but it
Sure.
does help, right? Because the way I do it is I print a list off, and Karen will have that list while she's doing weigh-ins, so she knows who is already paid, and we have that. And they'll have, if they have priority weigh-ins, that will be on the list, and then how many tickets, right? So if they did pre-registration before the 31st, I think it was.
Yeah. January 31st.
Yeah, you got 10 tickets, 10 extra tickets for the one key, right? So that'll all be there and stuff. So it kind of helps in that aspect. What I really think some people like is the priority weigh-in, right? And I would have loved it when I was competing. If somebody had that, I would have pre-registered all the time because I was always cutting weight. Right? So,
Oh yeah.
Because you're hungry.
Yeah.
You're
Right.
gonna be, I'm hangry. I just need to eat. Let me get before I end up murdering my family back here or I get divorced all of a sudden.
Well,
So
this chick who's cutting is very excited for that priority way. Get me to Jimmy John's.
I I think all I think if you've got a substantial amount of people coming, 200 or more, I think the option of pre-registration is great. One, go ahead and get your money spent. There, go, and they get that little bonus, like you said, you have the weigh-ins, you get the raffle tickets. Some people give shirts. There's always that little extra bonus of something, and everybody likes free stuff. I mean, come on.
yeah.
So, here's your raffle for your first free sandwich. There you go, Friday weigh-ins with the sandwich.
There's, so Battle Creek is next to a town just east of the town that I'm originally from, and when I was like 10 years old, this donut shop opened up, and my dad would go in there on the weekends and get these donuts and stuff. There's one in Battle Creek now. It's called um, shoot, Sweetwater's Donut Mill, and I've thought about going in there and buying like a few dozen donuts and sticking them at weigh-ins when people are done weighing in. They could grab the.
Grab a donut after you've made weight.
People love their carbs. Mine is lucky.
Yeah. Wouldn't be well enough to pull the next day.
She'd be in a sugar coma.
Right. See y'all later. I don't know. Maybe it'd be an advantage because I'd be up there like shaking, throwing everybody off. They'd be like, "Are you okay?" And then like be like, "Okay."
It's the glaze. It's the glaze.
And then two other things that I wanted to make sure. I have three actually, right? I'm still in need of some part-time down refs and stuff. If anybody's out there, contact me and we'll see if we can work something out. Uh, it doesn't have to be full time. These are to give the other guys breaks and stuff so they can go grab something to eat. Uh,
Right.
And then spectator fee. I've had a lot of people ask me about spectator fee. Over the 32 years that I've been doing this, I've only charged a spectator fee one time at a tournament, and that was the bar, right? And actually, I guess I guess I should take that back. I can't really say it because the NPC, the bodybuilding shows that I'm part of, they charge a spectator fee, right? I don't see any of that. They charge a spectator fee for anybody that's coming in. So, but I have personally not ever had a spectator fee for a tournament. I've had a lot of people asking me if there's going to be a spectator fee for this year. No, as much as I need to recoup what I have into the venue and the awards and the motorcycle and the staff, right? I can't see charging a spectator fee. I can't bring myself to do that. And
So show up, everybody, and pull multiple classes.
yeah.
Have spectator fees ever worked in the past as you were pulling? Like, were there ever any?
So not that I'm really been a part of, right? Not in the organizations that I've been with. There's a few guys out there that do it, and you know,
And if it doesn't work for you, it doesn't work. Works for them, that's great. It's at least people know to ask though. So yeah, I'm used to going to events and paying a spectator fee. It can be anywhere from $5 to $20. Never been over 20, but I get stuff with that. Like I will get my first free alcohol beverage, free, my first ticket to some type of food. Because my boyfriend runs Spartan, so I'll be able to like run by the course and get pictures, and all that stuff. So it comes with something.
right.
So, but if you're just sitting there and waiting with your arm wrestling spouse or partner, it doesn't come with a lot unless you're running to go get you're just their maid. You're there to get their stuff. So yeah, I get it. Don't pay.
See, I know the couple of times where there's been spectator fees in arm wrestling just in the year that I've seen it. I've seen it twice, and both times came with a lot of kickback just because it's not something that people are used to. And sometimes it wasn't even like something that was said that was going to be a thing. And then people got there and was like, what? And so, I think, like you said, there are certain sports and avenues where it's kind of like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. Like for me, I coach basketball and I coach track, and parents show up all the time and they pay, $5 a person and it just goes back into the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I guess it does depend on venue. Like again, if the boyfriend's running, we're usually out on somebody's farm, so I have to sign a waiver. So if something happens to me on that field, so like there's a reason for everything,
Mm-hmm.
It all depends. So, but you had two more things.
I have VIP tables. I still have a couple VIP tables that are available. Hit me up, go over the details of those. I'm trying to get like a waitress for those tables this year, so that it comes more with that than just being roped off from the rest
of the common folk, the peasants.
So, and I was also looking at hiring a security person this year, so I don't have to be the one chasing people out of there all the time.
There you go.
So
hey, us lucky ones are going to be there. We'll definitely throw on a shirt that says security. I'll do anything for a free T-shirt.
Play. Lucky's a biter. You're gonna get a lawsuit.
Saying, I did security with Allied Universal. It was one of my favorite jobs ever. It was not intimidating, and I sat in a room and colored and hit a button that let people in. But I feel like that still makes me qualified.
The qualification level is not very high. And don't let anybody in that doesn't have this stamp.
There you go. See, I got it.
Yeah. So, I'm looking at trying to do that because, especially if I go the route of some kind of streaming or pay-per-view. Yeah, I did a pay-per-view when I did Chance and Todd match the year I did that. I did a pay-per-view. It did okay, but the amount of effort that we put into it versus the pay-per-view aspect of it, I figured, for that match it was, and it was right at the start of pay-per-view type stuff for arm wrestling, right? So and then the gentleman that I was working with, he hasn't been involved recently, so I don't know what exactly I'm gonna do quite yet. I need to get on the ball and get it figured out, but uh I'm hoping to do something. George, he's still, if you remember, George used to run the tournament, and he's kind of, he still does a lot of work behind the scenes. He films and everything every year. So there is a Michigan Arms YouTube page that's out there, and he puts some stuff out there. But as far as live stream, he hasn't done that yet. So try
And
out and see how I want to handle that this year.
yeah. And do you hold any super matches at your events, or are you like against it?
No, I have to try to fill that time even while the kids brackets are being made, because I don't,
Mhm.
we do our arm wrestler of the year, which I call a silverback award, right?
Nice.
We do that, and then I have some announcements. We have a Michigan Arms Hall of Fame, so we try to do that stuff, and then do a couple super matches. We were doing a lot of super matches, but it haven't had much interest like this year. Nobody's messaged me really. A couple people have, but I think everybody wants to save their arms for the chance at the Harley.
Now that's smart. Yeah.
And I think that's my opinion. I'm hoping that's why, but
Do the super match afterwards. See who's really strong after pulling.
yeah.
I
So
think that would be fun.
yeah, so like I said, we've done it in the past. The biggest one I ever did was the Chance Shaw and Todd Hutchings match, and that was a lot of fun gearing up for that and doing that. I think it wasn't the same year. That was the next year. Yeah, it wasn't. I was starting to think that it was the same year we gave the other bike away, but it wasn't.
Are you gonna hint any special appearances this year that I can use to clout the podcast with?
No, I don't have any. I've kicked around a couple things, trying to figure that out, right? Because we in the past, we've had some, talent show up, from other things, and uh, I I don't really have a line on anything right now. No Dan Severn this year, so um, I've thought about throwing some messages out there and seeing if I could get something to happen, but I a lot of times those guys want money, and
Right.
uh, Dan was really reasonable to get Dan in. He was actually really reasonable, um, but uh, I have so much tied up in the bike and stuff that
Yeah,
Yeah, you pick and choose when you put it in what tournament.
exactly.
What's
Yeah,
yeah.
and I mean, and the
I
bike
think that's financially smart.
a bike is a crowd, something that's going to draw in the crowd just as much as so and so and so and so, and maybe even more so.
Mhm.
If you get somebody and they mess up before Michigan State, and then everybody's like, "Well, we're not going because we're going to boycott." The bike can't do that.
don't do that. Yeah, I don't need that. Yeah, the ultimate, the ultimate for me, if I was able to host the perfect, like, if I was a millionaire, right, I would have made an arm wrestler a millionaire by now, right? And that's just that's my mindset, right? If I had that kind of money, that's what I would have done, right? I've I was this close one time to having enough sponsorship and stuff to be able to grab a Corvette, and I wanted to give a Corvette away, but that slipped through my fingers and wasn't able to happen. Um, so maybe after this year, I can make it happen. We'll see.
Love it. Love it. Corvettes are cool.
Yeah.
I prefer the 68 myself, but some people like the newer ones.
I'm a Mopar girl. I'm not driving a Corvette.
Oh,
Sorry.
if you were given the key for a Corvette, you wouldn't drive home.
I'm gonna sell
Like,
it.
here, Lucky, you take it.
No, I'm just gonna sell it and go buy Mopar.
And one of the other guys in Michigan, right, when I was talking to him about it at one point, he's a Mopar guy as well, and he was like, "Why don't you just do a Challenger?"
Yeah, but I don't. You'd have to play. Oh, yeah. I don't think anybody appreciates classic cars that much these days, and the modifications of them are just they're insulting to me. I want, I don't want. I don't even want electric. I can't. Ugh, I vomit at that. But Mopar. I used to go to Mopar Nationals. Like last one was Indiana. It's like you could eat off these engines and everything. These cars are immaculate, and just seeing, again, the history of, vehicles, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and especially Mopar vehicles, right? The price point on the Mopar vehicles, because they're not as available as the GMs and the Fords and stuff. So the price on the Mopars have just gone insane, insane. Just hundreds of thousands of dollars for certain vehicles, and it's just like, wow, that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're way off on a tangent.
I'm over here thinking about Barracudas and stuff like that.
I'm thinking about winning a Corvette. honestly, I just hope I bring home at least a bronze gorilla. I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna talk to Karen and be like, Karen, Steve said to cut off the 140 class at 3 entries. So just make sure I'm one of the 3 so I can get a bronze gorilla.
I just want the gorilla. I'm really just paying for the gorilla.
I tried that last year, and Steve's all, like moral and stuff. Like, no, I'm not going to sell you a gorilla. You didn't win.
I think
I'll just shave down the engraving. Nobody has to know.
Yeah. I mean, I won't lie. I've been in classes where there's only been 2 people, and I've taken second. So
it happens.
It is.
Yeah. I think that's why I was very excited about my Arnold's win, because it was not by default. I was like, yes, I actually had to beat somebody to get my medal.
Good. How was the Arnold's? I wasn't able to make it up there.
It was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The only thing that I've been like kind of close to was the LA Expo, and the Arnold's definitely felt a lot bigger than even the LA Expo. So the booth was very nice that we had. We got to do the finals on the main stage. And like, I mean, it was clean, it was clear, they had tables set up, we were able, the booth area was a little jam-packed, but because of how they spaced it and scheduled all of us, you were only really had to be there for your like allotted time, so you didn't have to be like smushed, just all right, when's this gonna happen? And
Nice.
but yeah, so overall I think they did as an arm wrestler, the experience was really good. And then as far as the expo is concerned, it was probably one of the funnest events that I've really gotten to attend. I got to meet Larry Wheels for the first time, so that was really cool.
Yeah. So. Yeah, back when they first started the Arnold's is when I was going there, and back then you got to meet Arnold, and it was pretty crazy, right? And when he would come through, and they would part the seas basically for him to get through, and it's
Oh
pretty
yeah.
pretty crazy event.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was kind of fun because you had all these people like kind of sneaking around, like Larry and all that, and of course it's just like, who you hiding from? Like we all know.
Yeah.
But then of course you have your Jay who's like security everywhere. Like ain't nobody getting to him. Like
I,
you paying for that meet and greet if you want a handshake.
crazy, crazy.
Definitely. Well, very cool. Mike Nan says, I have never lost to Steve Pettis with a laughy face.
Oh, is he wanting a super match? Our first one.
There you go. I love it.
He accepts on his behalf. He accepts.
Yeah, 100%. Oh, we're making that when we get there for early weigh-ins, y'all are gonna super match. I'll rep it. He had something else that he wanted to that I meant to say, but then we went down another path and it was too late to reverse. Shoot fire.
What was it about?
Oh, he said that you refed one of his matches at the 2001 Nationals.
Okay. Who's that?
That you refed a match at, or you refed the Nationals in 2001.
Yeah, 2001 in Atlanta.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very cool.
We all went to Dave's bar. Dave was a manager or owned a bar, Dave Randall, and we all went to his bar after that. Oh, and they had buses, right? They bussed us all from the hotel over to his bar. Cleve Dean was there that year.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. I almost didn't make the flight home.
Mm-mm-mm.
It was
Nice.
bad. We had a good time. Jeremy Plaster. I don't know if you guys know Jeremy, but Jeremy was the guy out of Iowa, and we were on the hotel on the elevator in the hotel. And this elevator, I mean, this hotel was huge, and we're both just gone. Right when I got off the elevator, I hit all the buttons. I saw him downstairs in the morning. He's like, "You bastard! I rode that elevator for like an hour." Time.
Lucky you're not even hearing the joke.
I'm not. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to get.
I heard every bit. Steve was a child one day after he drunk a little too much and was playing in the elevator like a 2-year-old.
I love it.
Love it.
Yeah,
I'm that person that goes in the store and hits all the noisy animals to embarrass my family members. You're good.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. So, did you see Mr. Peanut's comment, Lucky?
I did. That's what I was replying to. Hope that's real. That'd be cool.
That would be cool. I wouldn't necessarily make it a GoFundMe page because they take a percentage. So I think he needs to go straight into a specific bank account with the promoter and all that stuff. Somebody's willing to throw in some money to help promote women. So, yeah, talking some big numbers.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If I could have made it happen, right, I would have liked to have a separate Harley for the women this year. I've been looking online, seeing if I could find the right bike and the right deal, but I just haven't been able to find anything. But I may still be looking, maybe a surprise. But
heart palpitation.
Right.
Heart palpitation.
See, that's what the podcast needed. Thank you.
Heart palpitation. I'm like, just throw an extra arm wrestling table in there and some gripping equipment or something that's a good thing to give for novice and amateurs. You know.
Yes.
Like first, throw a little swag. I don't understand why people don't do swag bags because I've done CrossFit stuff, I've done grip competition, and your entry fee kind of already gives you a little bit of a swag bag, like a t-shirt, these little whatever's coming from your promoter. So like if Grip Arm Sport had some grip chalk, smelling salt, Again, your gift cards, and they give this to your pre-registers, that type of stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm like, arm wrestling's like different. You pay, and then like you really don't get nothing unless you win.
You can go absolutely
So
nothing.
you don't get crap. You are hungry, tired. You have literally have to figure out how to maintain nutrition in your being still fit and not injured. Like I remember in Alabama, I had the band tattoo outside underneath the table leg, and I was just like, I'm tired and like eating mango and then shoving chicken and like stretch, stretch. I'm like, okay, I gotta go walk around. Like,
And then you start slamming beers as soon as they get in the building.
oh my gosh, how? Like I can't. I can't do that.
There's a few of them.
Oh, I would be afraid to be so intoxicated, then you break the seal, and then right up there you go to pull, and then eat. No, I don't want to pee my pants. I'm good.
So in the chat, I can't see the chat. Does anybody have any questions?
I think I passed on all the questions because we had that one from Shauna. Mr. Peanut said that he can Zelle you directly today. So I'm having him shoot me an email and I'll pass on his information to you so y'all can chat. That way you're not having to put your personal stuff out for the world to see.
And we can see if Mr. Peanut's real.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he is like he has a lot of knowledge that he shares. He says somebody had said about you that you were one of the best safety records of any promoter, strict rules and solid referees to keep people safe, and you've raised Michigan Arms to the premier event of state championship. So I 100% agree.
Well, thank you.
And then in 1989, George D asked me who to take over AAA Michigan Arms, or asked me to take it over, and I said no. Steve Pettis is the guy who should take the job. First head referee for state championship, then state director.
Oh, really?
So, yeah.
Cool.
So he knows all about you, bro.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I would have to say the one thing I like about AAA rules is when I was looking it up and I go to print it out and read it. It's like 3 pages. That's it. WAF and IFA. It's a book. I'm like, okay, basics. There's like 32 rules. Bam, bam, bam. I think I got them.
There's a few things in there that I really like, and then there's a few things that need to be brought up to speed that could be speed. One of the things that are in there, because the AAA rules are a subset of the original WAF rules and stuff, right? Because that's when back then AAA was hand in hand with WAF, and sometimes like a foul and losing position, right? So you getting these guys now, especially a lot of the younger guys that are watching certain YouTube videos, and they want to just lift their elbow up and get a foul to get a restart.
That's an intentional foul. Certain place to go. Come on now.
If you're gonna do it, you need to make it look good, right? Same with slipping and going to a strap, right? You can't just open your hand and run off the table, right?
Yeah.
You have to at least make it look good, right?
Yeah.
There's a few things in there that I like and that we still use, and it helps keep the flow of the tournament going a little bit, right? And not necessarily having to do unnecessary restarts sometimes, right?
Right.
Yeah. I know some people will do challenges or something, but I didn't see that in the rule for AAA. But would you accept like challenges if you've got a camera and the opponent's like, let's say Lucky and I are pulling and I got that, but y'all are saying no, and I'm like, challenge. Like some people say you have to you pay, like somebody will pay like $20 for that or something.
Yeah, we haven't really got to that point to where we're doing that because of table angles and stuff like that. I just don't, I try to keep the stage clear so that we don't have people up on the stage filming and things, because there's 4 tables and there's constantly people, coming and going, and reporting to their wins and things like that, right? So it's already chaos up there, and so we try to limit the amount of people that are up there filming and things. So to take one person's camera angle that's from the floor, because our stage is quite high,
Yeah.
it's just
Oh, I would only take it from like if you had table cameras, if your crew had the camera, you really can't unless
yeah.
I wouldn't take crowd because again, like you said, angle perception sometimes, shadow, things look different. What's the quality of your camera anyways?
Yeah.
So
Shauna said the last tournament she was at, it was $50 to challenge, and if you won, you got it back. But again, it would be so hard to see.
Yeah.
yeah.
At the world level, I know that's what they do, right? So at WAF and IFA Worlds, right? They have all the camera equipment and everything. And yeah, that's if I've had an issue in the past where at Michigan State where somebody has came to me and had an issue with a call, and I try to make it right, in some way, some form, some fashion. I'll try to make things.
Here's a hot dog. Get over it. It's arm wrestling.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if it's seriously close or it's so fast, there's legitimate reasons. I can think of a few matches in the past year, even stuff at round robin. But again, that's what I talk about rules. That type of stuff needs to be expressed prior. Going, yes, you can do a challenge one time. That's it. Maybe if you're doing like a super stuff like that, there's just got to be rules to it. I would think. Yeah.
Right. There
So.
is a question from Josh. He's asking if they are allowed to bring their own folding table or chair, or even just their own chairs.
That's a good question. I wouldn't, probably not tables, but I wouldn't see an issue with like lawn chairs, because I that's one of the things that is going to be a little bit different than years in the past, because the contract change that I had, essentially before it was they would put out as many tables as I wanted, right?
Right.
If we filled them up, we were grabbing more, right? And with the
We
new
were not allowed to do that last year.
contract change,
Some of us snuck past people and distracted people, while some of us snuck and got chairs until they locked the thing where the chairs were. I'm not saying any names, not throwing anybody under the bus at all.
Michael.
oh,
Shauna, Danielle.
I wouldn't see a problem with anybody bringing bag chairs, that type of stuff. They want us to utilize, because it costs them money to put out tables and put the chairs and everything up, right? So it's a business, right? And some of the convention centers and things, they charge you for every electrical plug and things like that. So we're fortunate enough we haven't got to that point with Kellogg, but they do. They're charging me for chairs. They're charging me for tables and things like that, right? So they'll be limited, not limited. Well, yes, limited, right? there's the eight VIP tables that'll be roped off, and then I believe 12 other tables that seat like 8 to a person, and then we have the entire seating, uh stadium seating that's there, right? So yeah.
Very cool. Love it. Would you ever think about, and this is just me kind of, it would be getting either the classes that are going 12 to 20 chairs on either side, just for the classes that are going during a certain time, so that people can feel more comfortable sitting up in the like the stadium seating, and then when their class gets called, they can move down to the side, and then when that class is done, they go back up. Because I know that was kind of a big thing, is people didn't mind sitting up in the stadium, but then they didn't have a place to like kind of woo-saw before their matches.
Yeah,
So,
that's actually a very good idea. I like that idea, right? So you can even rope that section off and put in, that for competitors seating. That's and you can only be there like when your class is pulling.
yeah.
It's actually a really good idea. I don't think I'll be able to pull it off for this year. I can talk to the arena. It's if we are able to go back next year, maybe that's an option for next year.
Cool.
Yeah.
So,
That's continuous improvement.
Yeah, that's the point. Make it bigger and better every year. So, and throw in an extra Harley for the girls. I like that. That's pretty cool. I mean, anything extra for the women,
And it doesn't have to be purple, but if
It doesn't have to be what is considered a girl
purple.
color. Yeah, give me some black and red, like some Black Widow stuff. All right.
This year, Harley's new color for this year, they released 2 purple bikes, brand new purple bikes this year, and they actually look really good.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. Yeah, I follow some Harley Davis stuff now because of the WSA that we went to back in November. So I follow, and then also Pro Gear is doing their bikes too. So.
Yep. I almost rode down to because we were getting cabin fever here in the somewhat north. And Bike Week was going. They gave that away the second week of Daytona Bike Week, and a few of us almost rode down there. I would have liked to made that last where they gave the last one away, but I think they're doing another one
May 3rd.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so they'll have one May 3rd. I think they're doing open and amateurs, $50 right and left. And then they'll hand out the envelopes. I know they had initially said for the other one that Craig Stubler actually won the bike. And they had said that if they had gotten 6 women in the class, then they would be able to. And so unfortunately, only 3 showed up. But, I definitely, ladies, come out and win a bike, y'all.
Yeah.
Or at least give us a class big enough so we get the key. The winner gets the key.
So we get the chance. Yeah.
The chance. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And that's what like this. I saw the stuff that was online this week about what happened with I don't want to that other organization that's out there that kind of shafted some women this last week, right? And I didn't want to jump on somebody else's post that had posted about it and stuff and hijack it to promote my event, right? So that's kind of why I made my own post and
Right.
just saying that the women get the same size gorillas, right? They all are able to get a key, right? To try to bring more women, to the event, right? And we try to do things as equally as possible. Can I run as many women classes? No, it just wouldn't be beneficial, right? And you would end up with 1-2 people in every weight class.
Yeah. It's not logical right now. We have to show up where you can do that.
So, given the same awards, right? Given the same awards and the same opportunities, right? And I personally, right, and may catch some flack for this, but I think it would be really cool if a woman won the bike this year, right? So,
not gonna get flack from us. We 100% agree.
cool. We'll see how it all plays out, and if I could get 2 bikes for next year, then that would be awesome. If I could pull enough sponsorship to last minute and get 2 bikes for this year, that would be cool too. So
yeah, we've got goals. All about goals.
Yeah. Oh, well, very cool. So, shout out your sponsors, told us all about the bike, told us about the gorillas, the history of gorillas, which I did not know, which was
That's cool.
amazing. Make sure you guys are hitting up Michigan State 2025, their event page. Hit going. Make sure you get all the updates there. Steve does an amazing job of keeping that post updated to let everybody know what's going on. There's nothing more frustrating than when there's an event page and literally the last post is like, they created an event. Okay. Good for them. What the heck? So if you've missed anything or needed any information that you forget or whatever, make sure you follow that page. Make sure you follow Steve on Facebook. Again, he does a great job of really keeping everybody up to date, keeping us arm wrestlers informed of everything we need to know. So yeah, and then make sure you share this out too, so everybody gets a chance to really get all this information before Michigan State, June 28th. We'll see you Friday at weigh-ins, either 7 to 9. Don't be late. Or Saturday, 9 to 11. Don't be late.
Yep.
Because there's nothing more scary than a annoyed Miss Karen Bean. So if y'all make her upset, if y'all make my bestie boo mad,
She's great.
Lucky gonna be mad.
She again, without the support staff. I mean, Frank, Karen, Heather, Matt's wife Tara. Right? They are the glue that, you know, or the grease that makes that whole thing happen. Right? Because I'm out there trying to direct traffic, shake hands, kiss babies, and things like that, and trying to, and they're what makes the tournament, right, and to go. And without them, I couldn't do it. Even all the refs, right? There's so many refs involved, right? Uh, Jeremy and Dan have been great support year after year after year, right? Keith came in a couple times, and I think this will be Keith's third time coming out, and so you can't do it, right? Al, right? He supports every year, standing up there reffing all day, right? So it's a thankless job, you know. That's what my first tournament I ever reffed, actual tournament I ever reffed was like in '97, and you know I've reffed all over the country. Reffed at the.
Are you doing a refs anything this year? Do you think or not?
I don't. I think we only had one or two people.
Okay, you had 3 of us first of all, and we were amazing.
Yeah. I don't know what time Keith's coming in. I can't personally do it, right?
I got you.
But I'll talk to Keith and see if he's interested in doing something again, and hopefully it's beneficial for people, right? I was gonna stick around yesterday and do the one in Dayton yesterday, but I needed to get home, so I did. We got a lot of rain around here the last few days, if you haven't heard. So the Ohio River is a little deep right now.
Right.
We've gotten a lot of rain, and I had to dig my trailer because the gorillas are coming in on a full size semi truck tomorrow, and full size semi truck can't get down my road, so I had to go dig out of the backyard to be able to meet this guy at Walmart or something tomorrow to get the gorillas.
Nice. That's quite the story. Like, you could almost make like a parody video of like you in like some sort of safari gear, like trucking through, saving the gorillas.
Making it look a little Jurassic.
Yeah, exactly.
I do an AI picture of that. Some gorillas.
I love it.
Cool.
Very cool.
Well,
very exciting.
We will see you in June. I'm so excited.
Yes. Anybody have any questions, please hit me up, right? I'll answer whatever I can. If I don't have an answer for you, I will get it. Get your hotel rooms booked. before June 14th.
Yes.
And please, I know a lot of people like using like VRBOs and Airbnbs and stuff, but supporting the hotel, supports the event, right? And without them supporting the event, right, I need to push to support that hotel, right? Because they do support the event, so try to everybody to stay there if they possibly can.
Yeah, it's too close not to. So
yeah, park your car and walk across the street, y'all.
Yes, it's the most convenient you're gonna get.
Hashtag, I will just say that parking garage that the arena has, it's sketchy, y'all. It's not really sketchy, but it's so sketchy. You don't want to park there, okay? Park at the hotel and walk to the arena.
Yes. Thanks for allowing me to be on and sharing some information. And I would not have been able to do this as easily just by myself, talking to myself on a live video.
It's to have you, and as we get closer, if there's anything the lucky ones can do to help out, we'll definitely push it. We'll keep promoting it. You do the ladies well, and that's what the show is all about. We will continuously push promoters and people who are actively looking to grow this side of the sport, and so we very much appreciate your time as well. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. It was fun.
Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. Well, we'll talk to you guys
in June or sooner. Have a good one, Steve.